When you buy Kroger brand products, you feel like you're winning. That's because they offer proven quality at lower than low prices. In fact, we guarantee that you and your family will love how Kroger brand products taste, or you get your money back. So next time you're shopping for the family, look for delicious Kroger brand products, because they'll make you all feel like you're winning. Shop now, in-store, or online. Bakers, fresh for everyone.
State Farm and DJ Dramos from Life as a Gringo know making smarter financial moves today secures your financial freedom for a successful tomorrow.
Tackle these situations in stride and yeah, of course, be annoyed when an unplanned expense comes up, but not let it be something that slows me down, right? As I did with repairing my credit, hiring somebody to do credit repair for me. That was a gift that I gave myself that allowed me to then, get my first apartment.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. State Farm, proud sponsor of My Cultura Podcast Network.
It's time to get inside the Giants Huddle.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
On Giants.com.
I like it.
And the Giants mobile app.
Boom, give me some juice.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's roll.
Welcome to another episode of the Giants Huddle Podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. I am John Schmeelk, joined by the one and only Shaun O'Hara. We just got off the practice field. Second day of joint practices, Giants and Lions. And Shaun, a lot of good action during plays and maybe even a little in between plays too.
Yeah, there was some good football and there was a little bit of UFC kind of combined in between plays. I'm still a little damp. It was another steamy day. So when you get those hot dog days of summer and camp days, that's kind of what it was. But definitely it was very feisty at times, which, look, every coach wants his players to be safe and be smart. But I thought when you look at the Detroit Lions, they've been one of the most physical teams in the NFL the last couple of years. And I think for the Giants to kind of have a little pushback and look, we're not going to take anything from anybody.
And we don't mean literal pushback, literal fight, but they were out there and they were like, we're not going to be bullied by you guys.
Didn't back down from anybody.
Yeah,
I think that you like seeing that. If you're Joe Shane, if you're Brian Dable, you like seeing our guys, hey, look, they're not backing down from anybody. There was some stuff that was just ridiculous, and there's no place for football for punches being thrown and guys are wearing helmets plus a guardian pad on. Like, what are you doing? We're not boxers. Don't be that idiot. Don't be that meathead that's out there. But I will say this: I thought Detroit was typically the instigators with a lot of that stuff, which was shocking because I know Dan Campbell, like, he preaches toughness, but do it in between the whistles. And last year we had a joint practice with them. We had zero issues whatsoever. So I don't know. Just not everybody can handle being in Jersey, I guess.
Well, it's been hot. That's for sure. And I'm sure whenever guys get hot out there, they get annoyed. Those things tend to happen. But let's talk about the play on the field. Me and you watched. Let's start up front. Me and you watched the O-line, D-line one-on-ones together both days. And look, we've seen in past iterations of this, Shaun, well, those drills don't go well for the Giants. And it's one of the reasons why the franchise has struggled over the last 10 years. They don't. Eagles and Cowboys, every year, they get dominated up front again and again and again. Well, against a really good offensive line that the Lions have and a pretty good defensive front as well, the Giants didn't dominate, but the Lions didn't dominate either. This was a good back and forth. The good players won. Other guys won other times. I thought it was pretty even back and forth, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I had cautious expectations with this because of how physical they are up front, and they have some really good pass rushers. I thought Aiden Hutchinson, he's a stud, so I was curious to see how our tackles held up against him, and Marcus Davenport as well. He's a big long-arm guy. I thought it was very even, and it was very back and forth. To your point, it was not one-sided by any means. Yeah. And I thought from an offensive line standpoint for the Giants, we were so much more consistent than we have been in that one drill. Like, look, the one-on-one O-line drill, it is the toughest drill for an offensive lineman because it is the most disadvantageous drill you will ever do as an offensive lineman. They know it's pass. They're just teeing off on you. They have no other responsibility. So if you can win half of those battles in that O-line, D-line, one-on-one pass rushing drill, like, you're going to be fine in game day. And I thought the Giants really held their own. I thought Andrew Thomas, he was obviously the best of the best. Like, when you watch him play, you say, okay, that guy is special. He has different techniques. He's so athletic and he's so strong, and he just looks so graceful in doing it. He never looks out of balance.
Both him and Penei Sewell look different. Those are the two guys where no one really beat those guys much over the course of the 2 days.
Yeah, you could tell those two are kind of in a tier all their own. But there wasn't a huge drop-off, which I think we had seen in the past. And to be honest with you, we would watch one-on-ones last year in training camp, and there's whiffs. Guys getting beat right now. They were not guys were not getting beat right now. There weren't any whiffs. There weren't any lookout blocks, which is good. And that's obviously improvement. And that just goes to show where this offensive line is as a unit and as a group. But I think that their technique has really helped that as well. So I think Carmen Basillo has done a really good job.
In what way, technique-wise?
Technique-wise, I feel like when you whiff, it's because you're getting overextended. You're not balanced, which means your footwork is not there. And I also feel like their punches and their hands have been more precise. And that's always one of the things that gets you in trouble as an offensive lineman. If you're punching with wide hands or you're mistiming your punch, you don't really – that's how you try to slow them down and how to get them to restart their feet. I feel like they did a better job with that. So this group, and obviously John Michael Schmitz is not participating. I thought Greg Van Roten has done a great job. I mean, he just came in. He's been here for like 5 days.
And he was a guard last year.
And he played guard. And all of a sudden he's like, all right, well, I thought I was coming in to play guard. I'm playing center because you guys need that. And he's handled it really well. He's a veteran. He's got good technique. I thought John Runyon was up and down. I thought at right guard he looked very stout. I thought at left guard there were times where he would get beat inside and it just kind of looked like his hands were a little bit off. But I like what he's done overall. He's been a very consistent player. Jermaine Illuminor, obviously all eyes have been on him because, look, we're counting on you right now with Evan Neal on the shelf. Like, you're going to be the right tackle until he comes back until he earns a spot back on his team.
And he kept getting Hutchinson. I mean, he had the toughest matchup.
He and Hutchinson were, I think Hutchinson followed him to the Gatorade booth too. Like, they were just a tandem. And so what great work for him. I think what Jermaine showed is he's got a really good anchor. He's got a lot of power. Like, that's not his issue. His issue is really he struggled with the spin move. And Aiden Hutchinson got him on one of those. We've seen Brian Burns do a spin move on him, and he's kind of struggling with that move right now. But overall, I like Illuminor's mindset. After every practice, I feel like I've had a chance to go over and talk to him, and all he wants to talk about is that one play he got, or this one play.
And by the way, he was winning some of those reps against Hutchinson too. Hutchinson didn't pitch a shutout here.
No, there was a couple times where he locked him up and sat him down, and so that's good to see. So, much more consistent protection in the one-on-ones. I also thought, in the run game, we'll get to that later on as well in some of the team drills. I thought they were very productive, and I thought they were very stout. There were some clear opportunities where they actually moved the guys up front. There were some creases, there were some holes, there were some run plays. I saw Tracy actually bounce a run play yesterday. I think I pointed out to you. I'm like, man, he pressed the hole and he kept the front side. It's been a while since I've seen a running back really press a run front side and be able to continue it. So I thought the offense was really consistent, and I thought they were really physical against a really physical front.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. One thing I want to ask you about Priscilla, because now you've kind of seen him coach for a couple of weeks now. You've probably been out to almost a half dozen practices already. I think just the detail and the way he teaches, it's cerebral, and he really gets in fine-tuning technique and vision, what you're supposed to be looking at, and the way he kind of talks to these guys as individuals after each play. I want to get your take on that. And then the other thing I've noticed too, especially with the tackle, Shaun, I think they're setting much more vertically. They're giving themselves some time to get in position where for fans will know you set, vertical sets, you kind of set back away from the defense, which gives you some time against speed rushers. You're not going to get beat right away that way. Now you have to be able to anchor so you don't get pushed back into the quarterback. But I feel like the vertical sets for you guys that you have out there at tackle probably helps that group. And if Evan Neal was here, I think it would help him too when he gets healthy. But those are the two things about Priscilla that have really jumped out at me.
Yeah, I think it's obvious that the footwork, it looks good. The tackles look cohesive. They look like they're getting to the intersection point in a different timing, in a different way. But I think with Coach Priscilla, what I've really just seen is his demeanor is really good for these guys. Like the way that he coaches them, what he's demanding of them. And as an offensive line unit, you kind of take on the personality of your O-line coach. And Pat Flaherty, Flats as we used to call him, he was tough as gristle. And he expected that of us. And he rode us hard at times, but he also knew when to kind of, all right, I'm gonna step back a little bit, let you guys figure this out. I think that relationship already, you can see that where they respect everything that he's teaching them, And there's respect that he has for some of these guys as well. But I think he does ride them hard, and I think he's pushing them. And I think it's he's seeing the fruits of those labors.
And it's not yelling and screaming like a maniac. Like he talks to these guys, so
Yeah. He's not Gunny Highway, yelling at them the entire time. But he's very succinct when he says, like, "Hey, this is what you did wrong. This is what you got to do." And there's been, it's like little quirks. He's demanding, "Hey, look, after that rep, you stopped. Like, I want 5 yards. Give me my 5 yards." And I've seen guys have to go back after they thought they were done with the rep and go give them the 5 yards. So he's holding them accountable, which is good.
And if you leave early, you false start, you lose your rep.
Yeah,
Pulls
you're
you
out
out of the thing right away. So there are little things that I like what I see. Obviously, we'll know when they get into games exactly how well it's going to translate, but I think early returns are positive.
You're ready for a change. Payday comes early with Citizens, so go to that retreat. New You moves to the country. Now you're raising goats and launching a lifestyle brand. Are you ready for all that life brings?
There's no better place to watch live TV this fall than Hulu Plus Live TV. Why? Because you get your favorite sports like football, local channels, shows, and so much more. Plus, get Hulu's entire streaming library with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus included with your plan. No long-term contracts or hidden fees. Don't wait. Start your 3-day free trial of Hulu Plus Live TV today. Live TV plan required. Access content from each service separately. Offer valid for new and eligible returning subscribers only if available. Terms and restrictions apply. Learn more at hulu.com.
Other side of the one-on-ones, Giants defensive front. Brian Burns looks like a dude, and he's like in team and in the one-on-one, Shaun. He's been in the backfield a lot. Kayvon Thibodeau, except when he's going against Penei Sewell, I think has looked pretty good. I think he's had some issues with Sewell. He did beat him a couple times. And then Dexter Lawrence is just, it's funny. On one rep, you asked me, Shaun, John, is that Dex going next? I go, give it a second. And the minute you see him come out of his stands and you just see the offensive line going backwards, that's Dex.
Yeah, it pretty much looks like the offensive lineman on roller skates when Dexter's there. And it's like how long can they hold on to Dexter? He's a bull. And it's
holding on for dear life. You can tell they are not in a comfortable position. They're sideways. They're trying to hold them like that. It's bad.
It's like watching the professional bull riders. It's like how long before this guy gets bucked off? How long can you hang on? He's a mammoth of a man. And I tell you, for as big as he is, there's no quit in him either. He doesn't get tired. He's got great push. He's got a great motor, great stamina. So that's been fun watching him because Frank Ragnow, their center, he's a tough dude. He's a strong dude. Yeah. And I thought Dexter just moved him out of the way. He pried him open like a beer can. I thought Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns both were impressive. Burns, look, he was obviously the free agent prize, with the trade and the new contract and his production, if you look at it in Carolina, not great statistically. Well, guess what? Carolina sucked. Guess what? They had 2 wins last year. So he was not on a good team. His sack production is not going to look anything like some of these other guys. But, man, he's showing up. And he's kicking butt. And it's not just in sacks. First and second down, he's beating tight ends. He had 3 tackles for a loss in practice alone yesterday. So he's one of those guys where if you didn't know who he was and you came to practice, you'd be like, who is number 0?
And by the way, he's winning in different ways too, Shaun, which is what I like. It's not like, win outside. All right, he's long-arming a guy. He's pushing and pulling a guy. He's winning inside on a guy. This guy's got every move in the books.
Yeah, he's got a high motor too. And I think a lot of his stuff, you have a lot of defensive ends or outside rushers that everything is all about speed. He has speed, and he turns that speed into power too, which is rare. Not a lot of guys can do that. And he's certainly used those long arms to his advantage. But I think he's been a handful, whether it's a tackle, whether it's a tight end. Kayvon Thibodeau has done really well. He had a really big sack against Taylor Decker yesterday in a team drill, that basically killed the play. So it was really good to see him on the other.
Practice day too in red zone where they're going to throw a touchdown pass, and he came around the edge. I think it was Decker again, and he would have had a sack.
Yeah, and Kayvon Thibodeau, the interesting thing about him is most of his pressure has all come with an outside rush, getting the hands and running the edge, not an up and under move, whereas Burns has done both. He's created an impact off the edge, and then he's got an unbelievable spin move. I think he calls it his ghost move or something, because 1 minute he's here in front of you, and the next minute he's by you.
And he'll do it inside outside too. He flashes it both ways.
Yeah, he can do it both ways. So I think he calls that Swayze, ghost.
Roadhouse. Right?
There you go.
Citizens is proud to bring the Giants' 100th season celebration to the Queens Night Market on Saturday, August 17th, and the Tottenville Staten Island branch on Monday, August 19th. Meet Giants legends, win tickets to the home opener, and more. Get the details at citizensbank.com/Giants. All right, so those are the big guys up front. Bobby Okereke, we should mention, too, had a great interception on day one. Undercut a little crosser from a tight end. Beat the ball to the spot. Intercepted, turn it the other way. But I think we also saw some things from the Giants' pass defense where, all right, a lot of young guys, some miscommunications, a couple of coverages where guys were wide open when they shouldn't be. And I think going in, you kind of worried about that against what's a very efficient passing attack for Detroit. And they had their moments. They had some pass breakups, but there were too many situations where the Lions had guys wide open down the field.
Yeah, some of that, it was obviously you could tell there was a bust. And look, you can't have that. You have a bust in a game, and you can never recover from it sometimes. So those are things that you don't want it to happen. If it's going to happen, have it in practice.
Yeah, correct.
So we can correct it, we can fix it. Certainly there was a couple times where you could see that there was a miscommunication. Even today, I think Goff had a really easy touchdown down the seam. And there was nobody within 15 yards of the receiver. So those are things definitely to iron out.
I thought Isaiah Simmons might have had a sack on that play at least, but still, you don't want the guy wide open in the middle of the field.
Yeah, it was questionable pressure right there. Is that stuff that we have a new defensive coordinator, right, and Shane Bowen. So are there going to be some growing pains with maybe some different coverages? I thought it was this. No, I thought it was that.
Especially with young guys back there too, man.
Yeah, it is a young secondary. So I think there's definitely room for improvement with that. I will say that the Detroit Lions have some physical receivers. Amon St. Brown, he's a specimen. And there was a lot of chippiness, a lot of chatting going on. The Giants' corners and their defensive backs, they didn't back down one iota.
Andrew Phillips, I think, taking anything from anyone.
And Tyler Nubin, he's been pretty physical as a rookie as well. So I thought those guys, they were not backing down from these receivers. Cordell Flott was involved in the first altercation. So, I think he kind of got under Amon St. Brown's skin a little bit. So you kind of like to see that. We call them chihuahuas out there, the little DBs in the corners. They're always chirping and barking. So you always kind of know that they're the instigators usually.
And by the way, that's where most of the action happened. It really wasn't with the
O-line,
D-line in this thing.
The O-line, D-line, it's too hot. We're like Labradors. It's too hot. We're the St. Bernard. We're just got to get our work in, and we don't want to exert any extra energy if necessary.
I love it. Then the other side of the ball, Sean, look, and he's a rookie, and I don't want to, go nuts here. No one can cover Malik Neighbors, man.
Go nuts, dude.
He is contested catches, running past guys, run after catch. Everything we thought he was coming out, he continues to check every box. They're running doubles at him. He's still catching the ball on the sideline. That kid is something else.
Yeah, I don't think there's an accolade or an adjective you can use that is going to oversell him. He has been as advertised. Coming out, obviously, the big question was, do we trade back or do we take this kid? This kid is a game changer. He's a franchise changer. Daniel Jones has never played with a receiver like this. He's never had a guy like this that I could put the ball pretty much anywhere in your vicinity and you're coming down with it.
And you can see the confidence and his willingness to throw into coverage when it's Neighbors because and we saw this. Remember his rookie year when he had Golden Tate?
Yeah.
And he would throw those slot fades to Golden Tate and you would catch him in coverage because you trusted him to make the play. You're seeing that. And Malik Neighbors is a lot more athletic at this stage in his career than Golden Tate was when he was here as his career kind of wound down a little bit.
Yeah, I think if you're a defensive coordinator and as soon as you see this guy in the game, you're going to know he's a problem. He's a problem. If we have one-on-one matchup and I'm Daniel Jones, I'm throwing him the ball. I don't care if it's a quick throw. He's going to stiff arm the corner. He's going to run through the safety. He's got some real feistiness to him too. He's physical. He's not just, hey, I'm trying to be an elegant receiver and I want to be finesse. No, he's got some power to him. And I think when that ball is in the air, in his mind, that is my ball.
Oh, yeah.
He's going for it. You don't even have a shot at deflecting it or batting it out. He's got a really strong hands. He's got a strong upper body. He's built. He's ready. He's ready to rock. So I'm excited to see him now do it in the game. We've seen him do it in practice. Today, he had a phenomenal catch. Daniel Jones threw the ball up high. He climbed the ladder and basically jumped over the corner and just snatched the ball right away from him. He mossed him. Yeah. And those type of plays, we haven't seen receivers make those plays consistently since Odell Beckham did it. Yeah. It took Odell Beckham a little longer to get to that point. Neighbors is already there. So, I think we saw him in a little bit of a fisticuffs out there, and I'm thinking, just whatever you do, don't hurt your hand. Don't break a hand. Like, we can't have that. Like, that would be the worst thing to happen right now. But if you're Daniel Jones, you've got to be ecstatic about the fact that you have this guy now, and he's making everybody else better. Look, if you're Jalen Hyatt, like by week 2 or 3, they're going to be dictating coverage to him. And now I'm going to get one-on-one opportunities. Everybody else is going to benefit from this guy. But I think he's also, like, the Giants, they've needed an explosive guy. They've needed somebody that defenses have to fear. And obviously no Saquon Barkley. Now you have a guy in Neighbors that can handle all that and can bring that to the table. I think that's exactly what the Giants offense needed.
You love turf. You're good at it. So you start a turf biz. Business grows, your savings grow. Become the most celebrated name in turf. Are you ready for all that life brings?
There's no better place to watch live TV this fall than Hulu Plus Live TV. Why? Because you get your favorite sports like football, local channels, shows, and so much more. Plus, get Hulu's entire streaming library with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus included with your plan. No long-term contracts or hidden fees. Don't wait. Start your 3-day free trial of Hulu Plus Live TV today. Live TV plan required. Access content from each service separately. Offer valid for new and eligible returning subscribers only if available. Terms and restrictions apply. Learn more at hulu.com.
I want to throw a couple laurels at Daniel Jones. I thought he's had 2 of his better days of practice against a tough opponent in Detroit, Shaun. And we all kind of saw him. It was never physical with him. He would move around well. He would run. He was fine. But I just felt like the timing in the passing game wasn't quite there yet over the first 10, 11 days of practice.
Yeah.
I thought he just was letting it go a little bit more against Detroit. I don't know if it's seen another jersey where he's just like, all right, this is it. Now I'm going. He was on point, accurate, on time, good velocity. I thought Daniel looked really good in both practices against Detroit.
He has looked so much better this week. Last week I felt like the offense, not just Daniel Jones, the offense was clunky. It just felt like, man, they were tripping over their shoelace and fumbling the ball, and it looked like the Bad News Bears at times. I thought that they did a great job bouncing back. And
0 turnovers, by the way, in both. They didn't turn it over once against the Lions in either practice.
Yeah, that's great. And there was a couple of balls that probably should have been caught, but I think it was they definitely look more functional. They look cleaner. Daniel looks more confident in these last 2 practices. Yeah. And to your point, like, the ball I think is coming out. I think that first week it was a little slow. The whole thing was a little bit, just a tick slower than it should have been. I think the urgency was ramped up a little bit. Obviously, the energy when you're practicing against another team ramps everything up. But he has definitely looked better. I think for him, it's great to see him struggle and not do well, and then shake it off and come right back and hey, put it behind me, moving on. Because look, he's never gone through an injury like this. He's never had a major injury like this. And yes, he had the neck injury a couple years ago, but this has been huge, and his whole offseason has been dedicated towards trying to get back to ground level, right, to sea level here. So I think for him, he didn't have the 11-on-11s in springs. He did 7-on-7s, but he didn't have the time to really establish that rapport with the receivers and the timing. So that has been a little bit of a rust factor for him. But I think that he's grown so much, even in just a week. I think he's going to continue to get better. His accuracy was much better in the last 2 days as well.
I'm with you. Finally, we're heading into the first preseason game. As of this recording, we're recording this, like I said, right after practice on Tuesday. We have no idea who's playing in this game.
Yeah.
So take me behind the scenes as a former player. For the guys that are going to go out there, what are your goals as a player? What are you trying to get out of this first preseason game, especially after 2 joint practices like this? You had a couple joint practices against the Jets in your time here, right?
Yeah.
Where there was all the fights
we
and
did,
all that
yeah,
stuff.
we did it with the Jets. We had some skirmishes.
Shockey.
That's like
was it like the first play of practice?
It was the first play at 9-on-7. And it was like, boom. You know what? With Shockey, it was never a matter of if there's going to be a fight, it's when. That one, it was like, let's just get out of the way. Like, it was like hockey. The gloves went down right on the puck drop.
So just tell me, from a player's perspective, what are you trying to get out of this game? And then as somebody who's going to call the game with us on the radio on Thursday, what are you looking for?
Yeah, looking forward to just seeing the guys compete. Obviously, that's the biggest thing. Hey, you get a chance to go out and play in a game. You're competing, and you want to put your best foot forward. I think there's always like 2 different types of players. Like, there's the veteran players that if you're playing this game and you know you're a starter and you're going to make the team, it's like, I want to get in and get out. I want to be healthy, obviously, and I want to make sure I have no mental errors. Like, let's just clean it all up. We don't want to look sloppy out there. For the younger players, it's, look, same thing.
And you were one of those guys, right?
I was a younger player, yeah. I was an undrafted free agent, and I remember the preseason games, it was, okay, I don't know if I'm going to have 6 reps, 10 reps, I sure as heck can't cut myself. I can't have a mental error. If I only get 6 reps and I don't know what I'm doing on one of them, like now I just eliminated one play right there. I only have 5 other plays. I like, you have to maximize your moment. But I think the big thing with the young players is play fast. Like, hey, listen, even if you make a mistake, like do it full speed. Don't be hesitant. You've got to just go. And once you get out there, it's a different speed, right? Joint practice is a different speed, different intensity level than regular practice. The preseason games are even faster. I think you learn a lot about players in these games is, look, things are not always going to line up the way that you thought they were, or they're not always going to happen the way that you would envision them or walk through. How do you adjust? And that's always a big part of the games here. But I think it's great to see some of these young players come out and now all of a sudden, hey, look, I get a chance to make a name for myself. You know, I can make a big play. Or for some guys that are trying to make the team, look, I just need to show that I'm consistent and you can count on me.
Good stuff, Shaun.
Thanks, Johnny.
Shaun O'Hara, I'm John Schmeelk. The Giants Huddle podcast brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. We'll see you at the game on Thursday, everybody.
There's no better place to watch live TV this fall than Hulu Plus Live TV. Why? Because you get your favorite sports like football, local channels, shows, and so much more. Plus, get Hulu's entire streaming library with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus included with your plan. No long-term contracts or hidden fees. Don't wait. Start your 3-day free trial of Hulu Plus Live TV today. Live TV plan required. Access content from each service separately. Offer valid for new and eligible returning subscribers only if available. Terms and restrictions apply. Learn more at hulu.com.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.